stood up. Raised my chair. I was like, hold up.
And right now, welcome back, everybody. It is From the Pocket, coming at you live. I'm from Houston, Christian from DFW in Texas, with our last episode of the 2024-25 NFL season.
Yep.
I won't lie to you, Christian. I've had 3 wellness checks done on me already.
Why you?
Because it's the end of the season.
Oh, yeah. True.
3 wellness
Yeah.
checks. 3 wellness checks. I've been kicked out of my home. My dog left me.
Damn.
Cassandra. She just left. She just disappeared. I don't know where she's at. I hope she's at her parents. It is, in all seriousness, a pretty bittersweet day. Bittersweet week. Obviously, watching the Super Bowl is amazing. You wait and you wait and you wait, and you get to see the culmination of the season, and then it's over. And it doesn't even really hit me that it's over until really the couple days after the Super Bowl, when it's like, man, there's no football for 7 months. So, we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, I was thinking about this, Christian. I would love it. I would love to think that there's somebody out there who watches us who doesn't actually watch football. So when we tell them what happened in the Super Bowl, it's going to be news to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in case you haven't heard, Christian, you know what? Before I start, how have you been? How was your day? How are you post Super Bowl?
I've been all right. I mean, if you didn't watch the Super Bowl, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. But it's kind of disappointing.
It was,
how it ended. So it wasn't a great game. It was funny. I was watching with our buddy Nick at his place, cool. And
we didn't have Nick on this year.
Yeah, we didn't.
Dang.
It was funny because so spoiler alert. If you haven't watched the game, she's got down 24-0.
34-0.
Well,
it was 24-0 at halftime. Yeah.
Yeah, and Nick was like, this is. He was kind of joking, but and I kind of did believe him for a little bit because I feel like for a minute I'm like, he's good. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been down in every Super Bowl 10-0 or something like that.
He's been down by 10 points at least.
At least in every Super Bowl. So I did kind of believe that they could come back here and there, but I think I started losing faith once that third quarter hit out of the halftime and all that stuff. And they immediately go 3 and out, and it's just
that's when I was already 80% there. I was like, I'm pretty sure they're losing this game. And then when they came out and went 3 and out, that's when I was like, it's over.
Yeah, they just can't do anything. The adjustments they made during halftime just was just not enough. So, but overall though, for the Super Bowl, I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, but the commercials really aren't hitting like they used to me. There were some that I thought were funny. The Thunderbolts trailer was pretty cool. I'm excited for those. For that one. And then the Super Bowl halftime show, I loved.
Yeah, I was a big fan of it. I know it's very controversial. A lot of people, it's very polarizing. But I was a big fan of it. I like Kendrick though, so.
Yeah, we're both big fans.
Yeah.
I loved it. Probably one of my favorite Super Bowl performances. I know I didn't get to see a lot of them. That's probably Michael Jackson's probably the everyone talks about.
That was the first major one. That was the one that really brought it to
that's probably the most iconic one. But this would probably be my favorite, and for a while it was because I love Kendrick. I will say though, I wish we could have had a bit more older songs. Nothing from To Pimp a Butterfly. I was a little disappointed about.
One song he had 2 songs from Damn. He had DNA and Humble.
Yeah. Nothing from Good Kid, Mad City. That's another good one. I didn't expect anything from Section 80.
Rigor Mortis. Come on now.
I mean, he could have did that'd have been cool. I felt, but but I mean, I was asking the entire time. I was like, please do not like us. And then he teased it. It's like, is he gonna do it? And then he did it. So
Drake.
that was yeah. And then kind of I changed at work on one of my profile picture is that picture, him just smiling at the camera. So yeah, that was very great. What do you think of that scoreboard?
I hated it. I hated it. It's horrible. It's the first time I've ever hated it. It's the first time usually I love the Super Bowl because you get the new score bug.
No background in graphic design. Like that's crazy. That's what they went with.
That's when networks typically broadcast their new score bug is in the Super Bowl. So whoever has it next year,
Fox's new thing.
That's their new whenever until they host the next, unless they just change it because of how much it got hated.
I think I saw NBC get their new. They need to go back. Fox, go back on the drawing board because
it's the first score bug I've ever seen that I'm like, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
That's terrible.
It was nothing. It was giving nothing.
It was bad. So
it was like the most basic shit I've ever seen, and it was just like, this is what we're doing for the Super Bowl, and this is supposed to be for their games for the rest of the year,
the next 3 years until they host the Super Bowl again.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna have to change that because that was just bad. Yeah, what do you think overall for the Super Bowl, except for the game?
I mean, so my experience is a little colored differently, because I was rooting so hard against the Eagles, and in the moment I was at a family party at my in-laws' house. Mm-hmm. And barely anybody's like watching the game. They're kind of in and out. It's like a very casual experience. And I'm just sitting on the couch, just seething, just watching this, just glaring at the TV the entire time, just seething at what I'm seeing. I was not happy. I was pissed. Now, in hindsight, I feel a little differently about the outcome, and we'll talk about that. But overall, like, I don't have too much. The game was just a bad game. Like, regardless of who you were rooting for, the game was a bad game.
I guess Philly fans are happy.
I mean, like, that's best case scenario if you're a fan of the team. Is you're like, my team's blowing the other team out in the Super Bowl. Cool. I don't even have to stress about this. Like, I'm just gonna get to enjoy this Super Bowl for the next 3 hours.
Drunk and then
like
later.
I don't gotta worry about the fourth quarter. But
did you hear that they greased?
They always do that in Philly. They always be doing.
No, in New Orleans, they were greasing. They greased the poles in New Orleans. I think they probably did in Philly too.
Ridiculous. No, yeah. But I mean, the game was not good. Kendrick, I kind of echo everything you said. I enjoyed his halftime show. Commercials, there was a couple commercials that I thought were funny. It's kind of the same thing every year. Like, I think we're out. I heard somebody I listened to talk about that the era of funny commercials are just kind of over. Like, it's just not. And I think a part of it too, and this is his point, which I thought was a really good point. It's like, what do we all do during commercials? He's like, we all get on our phones.
Yeah.
He's like you're not. It's just not. That was a very big experience in the '90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It's just not really a thing anymore. And I think, like, every year it's like, well, the commercials were bad, and it's like, well, we say this every year, but I just think generally, yeah, I mean, they're just not that good anymore. I mean, Fox was charging $8 million for a 30-second ad, and it's just like, how can that be worth it? Like, how can that be worth it? And the worst part is like even the most memorable, and this has always been the thing, like, even the most memorable commercials. Like, I think of Seal as a seal. Yeah. No idea whose commercial that was.
Is it a Mountain Dew commercial?
No idea.
There were some that were like confusing. It was like one I remember. It was like it was about a kid getting cured from cancer, but I think it was like a Google thing. I don't remember. There was some commercial that was like kind of like was weird.
The When Harry Met Sally scene that they did in the diner with Sydney Sweeney. Funny. Thought it was cool. No idea whose commercial it was.
I do not remember that.
I mean that's the it's like I don't understand how
I forgot Sweeney was in there.
Like Doritos always had it nailed where they're like we're going to make a hilarious commercial and our Doritos are going to be at the center of that commercial. And you're like, that was a funny Doritos commercial. And it just, for whatever reason, Liquid Death are always kind of funny. You know, you got the bus driver chugging a Liquid Death.
Like, I thought that was alcohol this entire time for a while.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I used to think it was because they kind of advertise it like it is.
That's the joke.
And I just never bought. I was just like, oh my god, like what is this? It's like it's water. It's like okay.
Yeah. But overall, yeah. Halftime show was cool. Commercials were whatever. Game sucked. I was pissed. I'm sure nobody wanted to be around me, which I don't care. Like, I know them all well enough now to where it's like I don't feel awkward about it. Where I'm just like, you'll catch me better at the next one, whatever. But yeah, I was not fun to be around on Super Bowl Sunday. I was pissed. I was like, not only is this the opposite outcome I wanted, but the thing I've been waiting 3 months for sucks.
Yeah.
So it's just, but we got a lot to talk about today, Christian. We got to actually talk about this game.
Yeah.
Now,
let's get into it.
I do want to, and this annoys me because I feel like this has been more about the Chiefs losing, and I don't want to play that. I want to start with the Eagles because they earned it. They won the Super Bowl, and I want to give them their flowers. I want to give them their props. I'll let you kick it off, Christian. Kind of, what is your reaction to the Eagles winning? Were you surprised that they dominated the Chiefs as much as they did? Kind of, what was your takeaway about them winning it?
Yeah, definitely surprised at the domination, but I mean they've been playing this kind of like this the entire. I mean, they had their ups and downs, but for the most part, that defense has been dominant for a lot of that, for a majority of that season. Their front four, I mean, I think they showed you that Jalen Carter in the divisional round. Well, they just bullied the Packers, so it really didn't that one. But the Rams, Jalen Carter making that big stop toward the end of that game. Matthew Stafford, he also had other plays and stuff like that during in the playoffs, and then what they did in the NFC Championship game, just really messing with the timing and of Jaden Daniels, who played fine, but like I think it kind of he was kind of like rushed and all that stuff. He really couldn't get all that settled into that game. So I mean, when that defense was just all over Patrick Mahomes, and it did surprise me, but like it's how they've been playing, and offensively, I mean, we knew what the game plan was. We knew what the Chiefs were going to try to do, and not all. I think the Chiefs' defense played okay. They at least understood the assignment. We're gonna shut Saquon down, and they did that. They did. That's like the best thing they did on Sunday. Like is shutting the Eagles, shutting Saquon down, and making him a non-factor. Sure. He did have that one sideline catch that was pretty cool, but other than that, he didn't even get a big run until like the third quarter, and it was like a 12, 14-yard run.
Yeah, exactly. It
wasn't that was his best run, and I mean, it kept the drive alive, but I mean, the game was essentially over. But Jalen Hurts answered the call, and like I said, I thought he would play well, and he did. Now that one interception was bad. Had a few bad throws during the game, but overall he played very well, and Spags said we got to let Jalen Hurts beat us through the air, and he did that. And he ran it pretty well and stuff like that.
Kept 11 times for 72 yards. He was the lead rusher on his team.
Yeah, I mean, because Saquon wasn't doing shit. So surprised, yes, but I mean, when you look at how the year went, it shouldn't be. Just how dominant that defense was. Cooper DeJean playing well, Jalen Carter and that defensive line all playing like phenomenal. Um, Patrick Mahomes didn't have anywhere to go with it. I think Greg Jennings brought up the point. They all kept their rush lane. They all stayed in their rush lanes and they did not overcommit under if Patrick Mahomes stepped up in the pocket, they were there. If he tried to get out, he couldn't do anything. So Vic Fangio, hats off to you, my man. That was a phenomenal defensive game plan. That pick six was awesome. I've seen Mahomes make that play, rolling out to his right, throwing across his body, perfect pass, and Cooper DeJean just played it very, very well. Got that pick six. Sacked him five times.
6 times.
No blitzing, and
that's insane. Absolutely insane.
And I mean that is the recipe to beat these all-time great quarterbacks. It happened to Tom when they had that excellent and versus the Giants in that first Super Bowl. This was the best offense we had ever seen in the league, and it's what happens when if you can rush four and not sacrifice your back end. There can only be 5 players running routes on offense, correct?
Because you have 5 blocking your offensive line, you have 1 throwing, 6, so there's 5 people left. So that's the most you can have.
So you can have theory. 5 people. So if you can get home with 4, that's 7 people 5. Back in coverage. He didn't have anywhere to go. Xavier Worthy did, the game was over. It was whatever. He did set the record. It was a great
throw and catch, but
yeah, no, it was. I think he set the record for rookie receiving yards in the Super Bowl. I think I saw that. But that's getting low. I mean, they didn't win the game, but so he did end up having a great showing there. But yeah, yeah. Overall, yeah. Well, I was shocked, but I mean, this team was very, very good, and top to bottom. And our biggest question was, can Jalen Hurts do it? And he answered the call. I guess my question back to you is, I know we talked about it a little bit in the before the Super Bowl, but can we stop questioning Nick? Can we stop questioning Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts? Also, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback? I think he is. He's at least top 5. If you want to put him 6, I think it's a bit disrespectful. Who are you putting above him? I mean, I'll give you Lamar, Patty, Joe Burrow, Joe Burrow living off that beating Mahomes. It's been what?
Joe Burrow
3 years.
Joe Burrow had an amazing year.
He had an amazing year this year, but he didn't make the playoffs too. I mean, he was hurt the end this year. Wasn't all his fault this year. Defense sucked, but I need to see him in the playoffs this upcoming year. I want to see him in the playoffs, see what he does. But I'll put Joe Burrow above Jalen Hurts. That's all I'm saying. Josh Allen. So that's the 4. I mean, after that, you have to put Jalen Hurts there, right? You have to.
I mean, are we not ready to put Jaden Daniels that high because he's only going to year 2?
He's a rookie, man. I just I want to see what he does. If he's awesome in his sophomore year, I mean, and then Jaden in the games that he played, he started and finished the game, he won. Did they lose that second one, or did Kenny Pickett?
They won. They split with the Commanders and Eagles split in the regular season because
they split, but he got injured in that second game.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts got hurt.
They played him in the NFC Championship game, and they got smacked.
But that wasn't. I mean, his offense had 3 fumbles.
True.
Jaden played well. Jaden played well enough to win. He played as well or close to as well as Jalen Hurts did. It was just Jalen didn't have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith fumbling the ball. No, I'm fine giving it another year on Jaden Daniels before top 5 quarterback. I mean, that's elite That's elite. So I understand if we want to wait on that.
I mean, all he does is win too, man. He wins a majority of his games.
He does, and he beats teams with winning records.
And now he has a Super Bowl MVP. That helps. I don't know if he'll be a Hall of Famer, but
he's
he
not
keeps
he's
it
not a
up.
Hall of Famer yet.
Yeah,
He's on track to be one.
yeah.
Like you
I
have to
mean, like
say,
the company he's now in. I think he's in the company with like Big Ben, um, Patrick Mahomes. Maybe I think the one has been like two Super Bowls and won one. It's been Russ. He's in that. Like
yeah, Russ
he's
is
in.
the
Yeah, Russ is a
comparison
little
I
weird.
immediately go to. Well, Russ, but like Russ is kind of that like kind of he's not the engine, but he's a key piece to the success.
He was a key. I mean,
And well, he became that. But early on,
yeah,
Russ was. I mean, it was Marshawn Lynch in that defense.
yeah,
But Russ, I mean, Russ was clutch. Like, I mean, they weren't going to the playoffs without Russ. They weren't going to the Super Bowl without Russ. Like, Russ had a key component in it. And I feel like Jalen is kind of there. But Russ was also on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
yeah.
Like, Russ was. If when Russ leaves Seattle, I think if you had asked most people, is Russ going to end up being a Hall of Famer? I think most people would have been like, yeah, Russ will be in the Hall. He'll end up in the Hall of Fame at this rate. I don't think he is now.
Yeah,
I think he's kind of fallen off that, but I think Jalen is kind of en route to that if he can keep it up. Especially like, I mean, he didn't win the MVP, but he got MVP votes a couple years ago. So like, it's not like you can use that argument that's like, oh, but he was never a dominant player. It's like, no, he has been. He's been a dominant player. I don't know. Like I think it's a hard question if he's a top 5 quarterback because I don't feel like when I watch him he's a top 5 quarterback. Like
he's not. He's doing it his own way, which I
yeah,
think is
it's
also very unique. He's not gonna be throwing for 250 yards plus. You know, he'll have a game or two like that, but that's not what he's asked to do though. Like
yeah,
this year he sacrificed. And I think that should count for something. It's like, hey, I don't need to be this guy that needs to be I don't need to be, throwing the ball 30, 35 times a game. You just hand it to this guy and he can carry the team on my back and I got a elite defense. And look, he answered the call. And like that Super Bowl 2 years ago wasn't his fault.
no,
like,
it wasn't.
Wasn't his fault. They put up 35 points and Patrick Mahomes just didn't let him get the score again.
I just like as much as like I don't watch him and I'm like I don't feel like he like I think Patrick Mahomes is head and shoulders better than him. I think Josh Allen is head and shoulders better than him.
I'm not arguing the top 4.
Well, no, but like that's like if he's top 5, it feels like there's a real gap between the top 4 and everybody else. But like at the same time, it's like, well, okay, who belongs in the 5 spot? CJ could have been, but I don't think CJ earned a top 5 nod this year.
Yeah. 0-2 in the divisional.
Jaden, it's too early. Justin Herbert, like, no, dude, we're not putting you in the top. We're not putting you in the top 5. Like, so I don't know. Obviously, I'm not putting like Dak there or Tua there. Like,
hell no.
I'm not putting Jordan Love there.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Jared Goff there.
Yeah.
Matt Stafford, Matt Stafford is a shell of himself. Like, that dude is not a top 5 quarterback anymore. So like, I look around and I'm like, I don't really know who I would put in the top 5 in that 5th spot. So to me, I think Jaden has a real opportunity to take that, and I do think CJ will have something to say about it by the time we get to this point next year. I think he'll have a bounce back season.
You gotta win in the most important spots, and he ain't done it yet.
But he's won a playoff game each of his first 2 years, which not a lot of people can say.
Man. Like Dak's been
in the wild card.
Okay.
I think again. I'm not ready to put anybody up. I would have to reluctantly because I don't know who else should go there.
I feel like you just have to.
He's got the resume. He's earned it. 2 Super Bowl trips in 3 years. He's won playoff games. He puts up decent numbers. He wins. He wins like all the time.
His leadership, I think, is something that needs to be talked about more.
I agree.
Always even kill. I know him and AJ Brown are having their issues or whatever. But always just a quiet, like a calm voice in that locker room, and you just see it on the sideline. speaking of this, I don't know if it was. I think maybe it was because of Jay. I don't know. Maybe it was just Saquon. But after that first penalty,
that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Okay, that first penalty where
Saquon was
it was
pissed.
OPI, and Saquon was like, "Hey, chill
I
out."
thought Saquon was mad. Was it?
Oh, maybe I didn't. I thought it looked to me like Saquon was like, chill. That's what I thought it was.
I thought that was Jalen Hurts calming Saquon down. I can't. Okay, I might have to go back and fact check myself on that.
I could be wrong. I don't know. It looked to me that Saquon was trying to be like, hey guys, it's okay. It's the first penalty of the game. We can chill on it. But okay.
But I did want to. So as bummed as I was when they did win, there was definitely a human part of me that was very happy for them.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni with his son was a really cool moment. Jalen Hurts hugging his fiance, them holding up the trophy. Like it's just.
You remember that these guys are like humans.
Yeah, like as much as I hate that team, it's really, really cool to see them all and again, the whole thing with Jalen, having his screensaver after he lost, just him walking off the field under the red and yellow confetti. It's a crazy, it's a really, if you follow it close enough, like we do, it's a really cool moment. It really is. So, I mean, I was happy for them, and I think, there's so many cool things that came out of it. Saquon Barkley, it was his birthday. Cooper DeJean,
really?
Yeah, it was his birthday. Cooper DeJean, it was his birthday. He got a pick 6 on his birthday.
Damn, okay. I didn't know that was all going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of cool
pick
stuff.
In the Super Bowl and then on Patrick Mahomes of all people.
Yeah, and
also it's really cool.
And
being a rookie.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
starting in the Super Bowl,
the peak of your life. I mean, maybe it's a little sad if you put it that way, but that's gonna be the coolest moment he probably ever has in his life.
That's what you dream of. That's something you would dream of.
Yeah,
and he accomplished that. So
I know it's big congratulations to them, and this is kind of the point I really wanted to make. I said this a little bit on the podcast last week, but I really do feel like it's probably better for the NFL that they won than the Chiefs.
I do have some,
because it's just, to me, it's like when you're the Eagles, okay, and the Eagles do everything right. I mean, they draft well. They're aggressive in the draft. They make moves that puts them in the top 10 after they're just in the Super Bowl, and they can draft Jalen Carter. They're trading for A.J. Brown on draft day. They're drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round after they just gave Carson Wentz a massive contract. They're wheeling and dealing at the trade deadline. They're signing big-name free agents like Saquon Barkley, who work out well. They're signing low-key free agents like Zach Bond, who get Defensive Player of the Year nods. They have both of their coordinators get hired away after they lose a Super Bowl, have a year with 2 other coordinators, say, you're not working out, we're getting new coordinators, and they bring 2 new guys in, and it works. And
they just lost their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and they just lost their offensive coordinator again, but the way that this team operates and moves, they're either going to get it right, or if they don't get it right, they're going to find somebody else and keep trying to get it right. They are hyper-aggressive. They're always trying to build their squad, and they do it in such a smart, consistent way. They build their offensive line and their defensive lines.
Yeah.
I mean, they do everything you want your team to do. I mean, they just, how good is Howie Roseman? Howie Roseman just won a second Super Bowl in less than 10 years with 2 different coaches and 2 different quarterbacks. That's some Madden type shit, dude.
What was it? Nick Sirianni was it the only Eagles? Was it the only? I think I saw something on the Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni was the only Eagles head coach to go to not back-to-back Super. Well, go to two Super Bowls in their tenure. Yeah.
Andy Reid only went to 1. Doug Peterson only went to 1. Buddy Ryan only went to 1. I think Dick Vermeil went to 1. That's it. And obviously all of them lost before Doug Peterson. And then Nick Sirianni went to one and lost one, got back and won it. So they just do everything right, and it's admirable. And I think the way, when they do all those things right, it's like they're going into this game, and it's like, well, where are we better than the Chiefs? It's like, well, we're better on the offensive line. We're better on the defensive line. We're better in our skill positions, our receivers, our running backs. We're maybe linebackers are a bit of a push, We're better in the secondary. Like, they are better everywhere except two positions, coach and quarterback. And I get it. Those are the two most important positions. It's a coach-quarterback league. I understand it, but, like, if you are the Eagles or just a football fan in general or a football team in general, and it's like, so you're telling me I can make all the right decisions. I can build my roster to perfection. I can have it deep. I can have it loaded with studs. I can have a great influx of young talent. I can have a great influx of veteran talent. I can do everything right. And I still can't beat this team because they got that guy and that guy over there. Like, what's the point? What's the point? So, like, at that point, it's like, why am I not just spending first-round picks every year drafting a quarterback until one of them's a superstar? Like, what am I doing if what I'm doing building this amazing team isn't working? What's the point? So, I think in that sense, it really is, like, nice to see the Eagles win, because it's nice to see a team that operates the way they do be rewarded for operating the way they do. So that was kind of my takeaway from it.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I'd also say we've been getting it all year, and we saw it during both Chiefs divisional and AFC Championship game. Just tired of this just the narrative of the refs and all that also helped. I ain't seen one goddamn tweet about how like the missed calls the Eagles didn't get or whatever. I ain't seen one tweet about that. And so I mean it's just annoying. You can't have it both ways. You can't be like the Chiefs are cheating and they're in bed with all the refs and stuff like that. And when you see the Chiefs lose, like, oh, the league is fair now. Like that is like it's either fair or it's rigged. Well, you can't have it both ways.
You're wrong, Christian, because actually the Eagles were so much better than the Chiefs that the refs, despite wanting to help them, couldn't help them. That's what some of the people were. It's like, yeah, okay, when they're down by 3 possessions and it's a 3rd and long critical down and they get a holding penalty. That happened like 2 or 3 times. Like, yeah, the refs are really trying to help the Chiefs right now get back into this game by calling holding penalties and making their 3rd and 11, 3rd and 21. Like, no, I agree with you. Like,
and so, like, you brought up a good point, but I was just tired of. We've been hearing it all. You just defend. I haven't been the biggest Chiefs fan, but just it sucks that they lost and all that, and but just hearing all that nonsense, and we're gonna hear it in going into next year as well. So
yeah, it's not going anywhere. Yeah. The Chiefs are going to continue to be good, like we know that, and as long as they're good.
Some people don't think so.
Well, I mean, and we're going to talk about that. I do want to have a segment where we talk about what's next for these teams after we talk about the Chiefs here, but yeah, I mean, the narrative is dumb. It's like we all think the refs are bad, but for some reason they're actually trying to help the Chiefs. It's like they're bad for every team. Everybody thinks they're bad. They're inconsistent calls, all this. But then when it comes to the Chiefs, it's like, oh, but they're helping the Chiefs. And it's like, yeah. What happened to them just being bad? Like, I don't understand. So anyway, yeah, congrats to the Eagles. As much as I hate them, I don't know. My kind of hatred of them has subsided. Is like I
think it's the fans.
Well, I mean, I hate them, and I'm gonna hate them when the season starts next year, and I'm gonna be rooting against them. But like, just post Super Bowl, like, cool moment for them, happy for them. They earned it. Like, I'm not mad at them winning it because we talked about, like, the last month of the season, regular season, it was like there's 4 teams. There's the Chiefs, the Bills, the Lions, and the Eagles. They were one of the teams we and everybody felt could win this thing. So it doesn't feel like it was like, can't believe this team won, with all these holes. Like, they are a well-built, well-coached team. They've been here 2 years and 2 out of 3 years they've gone to the playoffs, 4 straight years. Like, they were a team that earned it, and I'm happy for them to have accomplished it because they were good enough. But let's talk about the Chiefs. Man, I mean, I feel like there's just so much to say.
Yeah.
Obviously, going for 3, we have learned. Look, we should have known better because there's two things that are impossible. A rookie cannot get to the Super Bowl, and a team cannot three-peat.
I mean, this is to be fair to the Chiefs. This them being in this game was just an accomplishment within
It
itself.
was, and it's easy to
This was the
forget
first,
that
yeah.
because of how bad they lost.
This was the first time a team that was trying to three-peat has even made it to the Super Bowl. So like hats off to them for that. I mean, I just think it was just. I mean, it was just had to. It was because the Chiefs, the Eagles' defensive line just dominated the Chiefs up front, and they couldn't do anything. I think it was just a lot of. I think the Chiefs got uh throughout the season. I mean, you kind of. I mean, what was it? Winning kind of hides your flaws, and I think their biggest flaws were their offensive line, obviously.
Yeah, their tackle
They
position
had
was bad all
they
year.
had some holes there. They were doing some mix and match, but like Patrick Mahomes kind of hides it all, and they were winning. Their offensive line wasn't that great. Their running game was okay, I think.
Mm.
Or were they? They were okay at getting they weren't great at getting explosive runs.
They were,
Uh,
yeah, but they were consistent at running.
they were consistent at running, but they weren't getting those explosive plays like what the Eagles were doing with Saquon and him getting all these 20, 30, like all these big ass runs. So I think that was a problem. Um, the receiving core wasn't terrible.
It was
I mean,
injured though. I mean,
it was very injured, yes. And they made some moves. Got DeAndre Hopkins. That made me that drop he had.
that was
That was
that
I
was
was
so
so
critical.
dude. I was
Like
I was like,
as
ooh.
much as I hate to put, like, I don't want to put it on one play, but like I do
I mean,
wonder if the
Travis
game.
had a drop too.
I do wonder if the game, because that was a third down drop. I do
Yeah,
wonder if that game would have been a little different if they had caught that and gotten some momentum, and instead it was
that
just another punt, and it's like, wow, we're really not scoring.
um, and then I mean, defensively, I mean, the defense was their best part.
Defense is
Like
solid.
the defense was solid, but then they could be had, and they were had. Like
Can't defend the tight end.
yeah, couldn't
Yeah.
defend the tight end. Um, So, I mean, just all that kind of just reared their ugly head there. And like I said with the Eagle, like the best way to deal with these all-time, superhuman quarterbacks is you got to rush forward. You got to make them on an easy.
Got to get home in 4.
You got to get home with four, and because he's mobile, you got to you got to stick with your rush lanes and your rush integrity. And when he steps up, make sure you're there. If he tries to get out, make keeping that leverage, making sure he's not outside of you, because then he's athletic enough to do that. And it was just a masterpiece by Vic Fangio in that defense. And that Cooper DeJean pick six was was great. Like I said, I see Patrick Mahomes make that play all the time. But
I thought when he got out and was throwing it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. They
yeah,
finally got it, and he threw it, and I was
yeah.
like, and then it
Nope,
was
nope.
picked, and I was like,
So they and just not blitzing at all
yeah, zero
until like
blitzes. I
late
mean,
into the
insane.
third quarter is insane. And they they just did very well, and they rattled him early, and they could just never get out of it. They and it was just and this I think, and also this game was really kind of showed Travis Kelsey's age a little bit. I saw this one Twitter post where he was late getting out on the block. He was just not doing his job with like chipping and stuff, and it's just yeah, it was just not. It was not a great showing by everyone. Like you saw by the third quarter, whenever they showed the Chiefs bench, everybody's head was down and just defeated and all that stuff. So, um, yeah, I think that's my really thoughts on the Chiefs. It's just kind of there's just all that kind of stuff culminated into this game here, and yeah, it was Patrick Mahomes' worst showing in a Super Bowl. So
Yeah, I
and
think
play like worst in his career probably.
it was. I mean, it was. I don't know if it was his worst game, just period. But like when you factor in the stakes, it was absolutely his worst game.
I mean,
Like
until they started scoring. I mean,
he's. I mean, just in terms of. I mean, honestly, it might just be his worst game, period, even without the stakes. But definitely, when you factor in the stakes, I don't think it's close. Like this was his worst game of his career. Yeah, it's just tough. Like, I don't know if maybe the moment got too big. Like, I don't know if, like, I mean, the Eagles, I don't want to take away from the Eagles because, like, obviously they were amazing. But, like, to be fair, like, they were, like, 15th. They were, like, middle of the pack in sacks this year. Like, their defensive line was not, like, an elite juggernaut going into this game. Like, but it just, Patrick Mahomes had no time. And then on top of it, it's like Patrick Mahomes just didn't play well either. And he compounded Patrick Mahomes over and over was compounding a bad situation with bad decisions.
Yeah.
Just or not even bad decisions, but just bad throws, like undersailing balls. I mean, that second interception, he got hit as he kind of threw. That one to Cooper DeJean was just I mean, it was terrible. Like it was just a bad decision, and it felt like he and them and Andy Reid and everybody did not know how to get anything going.
They could. They could.
I mean, it was so jarring because, like, I just feel like we're so used to seeing, like, okay, things aren't going well. Patrick Mahomes about to activate. Don't know how he's going to do it. But he's going to activate. And then he does. And he leads a touchdown drive. And you're like, yeah, they're back in it. They're alive. And, I thought Nick Wright kind of put it really well when he was, like, he was talking about when he first thought they were going to lose. Like, he throws the pick six, and it's 17-0, and it's like, this is looking weird. This is weird. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, they go get a touchdown. They go into halftime. It's 17-7 at halftime. You're down 10 points. Same exact situation you were in when you played this team 2 years ago, and you get the ball. So I'm like, not out of it. And then they went 3 and out, and I was like, oh my gosh, they can't do anything. Like they can't do anything. And then they stopped them and got the ball back. I was like, okay, back in it. Just it's a long drive because you're backed up on the goal line. Just put a drive, and then he throws an interception, and it's like, are they gonna lose this game?
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the party, and I just like, I'm a little bit of an asshole because, like, I'm the one who knows I'm obsessed with this sport. Nobody at this party is obsessed with this sport. Like, some very casual watchers, if they're even watching it at all. And I'm just hearing, like, just so much stuff that I'm like, I'm already mad because I'm watching this debauchery of a game. And I'm hearing, like, well, maybe this is rigged. And I'm like, sitting there thinking, I'm like, I shouldn't even entertain it because these are people who don't watch this sport. But I'm just like,
rigged for the Eagles?
Why would the NFL rig their Super Bowl to be a blowout?
Right? This is not good TV.
Why would they do that? Why they have 120 million people watching. You think they want 120 million people to see a blowout? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But then people are, it's like, I mean, it's late in the third quarter, and people are like, maybe Patrick Mahomes, maybe the Chiefs are going to do it. Maybe they can come back. And I'm not saying anything, but I'm sitting here thinking, like, guys, this game is over.
Yeah.
This game is over. He's not coming back. Like, I want him to. I would love to see him do it, but I'm
guys, the greatest comeback of all time.
That's exactly right. Like, it's like, guys, I've seen enough football. He is not coming back. A team does not come back from this. Like,
I mean, we were saying that during the 28-3, but I mean that was 28-3, not.
But that's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Patrick Mahomes maybe does it, but he's not doing it. Like this, the Falcons were not as good as the Eagles were.
Yeah.
Like the Eagles were a battle tested team. They had the mentality. They had already been there against this team. I was wondering. I was thinking during the halftime show because like the first time the Eagles played the Chiefs, they were like, we were not prepared for how long the halftime was going to be.
Yeah.
And we got settled in, and we went out and we started to play flat, and the Chiefs didn't because the Chiefs knew to prepare, to be ready. They had, and they took advantage of it. I was like, I bet we're not getting that Eagles. The Eagles aren't going to do that this time.
Yeah.
I bet Nick Sirianni and them have been planning for this moment. What are we going to do during the halftime to stay in it? And they did. They came out, stopped the Chiefs, and scored. And it was 31-0. So, and the other thing last thing I'll say before we get to the next kind of topic is I think we all looked at last year's Chiefs team and went, they're kind of barely beating teams. Point differential's not great, and they won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing as like that 20. That's kind of the exception to the rule, And point differential matters. Like we see point differential matter. You look at the teams.
This is great. I'm glad you're bringing this up.
Like it matters. Like you look at the teams who win the Super Bowl. You look at the teams who will make deep playoff runs, who get to the Super Bowl. They all have the highest point differentials in the NFL.
I'm not saying I'm glad you're bringing this up. I'm not saying you need to blow out a lot. Like you don't need to be blow. You don't have to be like the Lions and beat up on the whatever. You ain't gotta do all that. I'm not saying do that. You gotta at least have some games where you just dominate. And they didn't have a whole maybe the Texans win, but that was kind of close in that game. But yeah, you can't be escaping by every single game.
It's just
I know Patrick Mahomes was awesome in the fourth quarter throughout that season, but it's gonna catch up to you, and it unfortunately caught up to him in the worst spot.
And honestly, I don't even know why it does necessarily, but it just does. Like the teams with high point differentials, the teams that consistently can blow a bad team out and beat the good teams, those are like I don't know why. I don't know why the Chiefs would going 15-1 in the games that mattered. Can't I don't know why they did it last year, but it matters. Yeah, you have some random exceptions to the rule like last year's Chiefs team, but most of the time you need to have a high point differential. And the Eagles, after their bye week, they were going into the Super Bowl 15-1 since their bye week. They had the highest point differential in the league. It's not a coincidence. We see it every year. So I did want to stay on topic, a Super Bowl topic, but change a little bit. I wanted to ask you, how does this affect LeBron's legacy?
I'm glad you brought this up. Now everybody want to talk about the Lakers being championship contender. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, God, ain't we talked about how his defense is trash? Whatever. And they still ain't got no center.
In real talk, how does this affect Patrick Mahomes' legacy in your eyes?
Dude, I feel like it's ridiculous. I see first things first, and the Tuesday after the Super Bowl, we're over talking about, will Patrick Mahomes make the Super Bowl within in the next decade? I'm like, really? This is a topic we're talking. Look, I get it. It was terrible. Patrick Mahomes got on that podium. I played terrible. It put it all on him. Wasn't all his fault. Obviously, it's a team sport, but he gets all the credit when they win. He deserves a lot of it when they lose as well. But it is a team game, so not all on Patrick. But anyway, yeah, man, he's still the reigning champ of the AFC. The Bills can puff their chest out all they want, but you ain't beat them when the games matter. 0-4 when the games matter in the playoffs. So you get that. Baltimore can't beat them.
0-1.
Right now, at this moment in time, Baltimore hasn't beat them. Joe Burrow has, but it's been Joe getting to live off that. Joe Burrow been living off that one win he got on Patrick.
Isn't that amazing? Now. That's how good Patrick Mahomes is. That beating
Jalen Hurts now gets to and Jalen Hurts gets to join the ranks with Tom Brady and Joe Burrow.
Beating him one time makes you like you're a made man now.
I mean,
that's how
he's
good
also
he is.
Very no shade to Joe.
I mean, Joe Burrow's amazing. I love Joe.
Joe Burrow's a
bona fide top
quarterback. But he's been living off this one.
Yeah.
So I think it's ridiculous. Like, will he win one within the next decade? Yes. Yes, I wholeheartedly believe that. Like, I know. I mean, this is the greatest 7-year run by a quarterback.
7
right?
straight AFC championships, 5 Super Bowls in 6 years. Yeah.
I mean, we're in unprecedented territory. Like, it's never been done. Now, great quarterbacks of this league have all gone through droughts. I don't know if he's gonna keep this up. I don't think he will, but am I gonna be surprised next year if we're back in the AFC Championship game and it's going through Kansas City? No. So I don't know. We're in this weird thing where, like, we went through the great run. We're probably not going to see, at least in our lifetime, I don't think we're ever going to see a three-peat another team at least attempt it. At least in our lifetime, maybe it'll happen later. But I mean, will they go on? He's not going to. I'm not going to bet on the Chiefs to win it every year, but
it's a safe bet, though.
It's a safe bet, but I don't know. I don't know if you should be betting that every year Chiefs get making the Super Bowl. But I mean, you are right though. But I mean, I'm not gonna be shocked if they're here next year. At least in the AFC Championship game, I wouldn't be shocked. Now they could lose that one.
They lost the Super Bowl and then they got back to the AFC Championship the year after. They lost in the AFC Championship, but they got there.
I mean, I don't know where we're gonna be. I don't know what the future is gonna hold, but you got that guy, and you got the best coach and the best quarterback in the league, and from what I have seen watching through football these past few years, that's the recipe to at least get to win you a lot of games and get you at least in the conversation to be in the Super Bowl, and so. You have to show me first, and these teams got to step up in the AFC to get past them.
So let me ask you this, because going into it, you said you had Patrick Mahomes as the second best quarterback ever. Is he still the second best quarterback ever? Has he dropped? And what do you think he needs to do? Do you think he can get to number one?
It's gotten a little hard. It's a little harder for him now to get to number one. I mean, like I said, he either has to match Brady or he has to win one more than above Brady. Because if he matches him, the Brady fans are going to be like, well, he beat him when, he beat him in the AFC Championship game.
2-0 against him in the playoffs.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, technically 3-0 because he commented the game. People were like, Patrick Mahomes lost every game where Tom Brady was in it.
Been in attendance.
So, so, I mean, I feel like it's the LeBron Jordan GOAT debate. If he gets like one less, or I think he needs to at least win. What's he at 3?
He's at
Brady
3
won
and 2.
6. Brady won 7.
Brady won 7 in 10 trips.
Fuck, 7 Super Bowls, man. Oh man.
Yeah,
he needs at least
teams. He won a Super Bowl.
He at least needs 5 to at least even try to be in at least 5. I think he needs at least 5. So 2 more. I could maybe hear an argument for it.
But he's still number 2 in your book. Or has he dropped?
Like, I didn't grow up with Joe Montana. I'll give him number 2.
All right, fair.
I'll give him number 2.
So
I mean, Joe Montana is cool. He did beat
4-0.
He did beat my Dolphins in the Super Bowl.
Dan Marino. That was the year Dan Marino threw for 48 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. Like,
that's crazy.
Like in 1984, 85 season.
People don't talk about Dan Marino enough, but
thrower of football ever.
Yeah, I'd give him number 2. I'd probably put him number 2. But are you dropping him down, or does he get number 2 to you?
Before I answer that, side note, one of my favorite stories is when, because how they make the Hall of Fame thing, right, is they have the voters who are all beat reporters for each individual team, and how you get to the Hall of Fame is the guy who reported on your team stands up and makes the case for you and tries to compel all the other voters to.
Man, what is that, Eli? What is that Eli beat?
Exactly.
What was that guy doing?
It's like he beat Tom Brady twice, and it's like, well, nobody bought it. We'll talk about that a little later. But when Dan Marino's turn came up, the Dolphins beat writer stood up and said, "Gentlemen, I present you the greatest thrower of the football to ever live," and he sat down, and they voted him in. Like that's just. I mean, Dan Marino won one MVP. He went to one Super Bowl and lost it. Like, that's the same resume as Cam Newton, as Matt Ryan, and he was so good. And everybody who saw him play was like, this guy is amazing. He was so good. Like, with that resume, people consider him a top 7 quarterback all time. And he was a top 3 quarterback when he retired. I mean, since then, we've had Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers all come in. So, like, when he retired, it was like Montana, Elway, Marino, Staubach, Bradshaw, Unitas, like the list. But either way, I digress. So, if somebody wants to say he's below Joe Montana, I probably would not argue with them. Like, Montana's 4-0, never threw an interception in the Super. But, like, I personally think he's above Montana. I think he's a better. I think he's just a better quarterback. Like, I mean, he's all time stuff. So I have him at 2. Don't care if somebody wants to put him at 3. Yeah. I will not hear anybody make the case that he's lower than 3.
Yeah,
he is not. He is not below Peyton Manning. He's not below Aaron Rodgers. He's not below John Elway. He's not below Dan Marino.
I would love to hear someone say Patrick Mahomes ain't better than Aaron Rodgers.
Like and, the only argument you can have for
more EPs. Okay,
that's the only argument you can have for Peyton.
Blown out in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. So, I still have him at 2. If you want to put him at 3, fine. I think regardless of this, he's still going to finish second all time. Like, he will win enough in the upcoming decade to get to number 2 and solidify himself at number 2. Yeah. Look, I love Patrick Mahomes. I still say he's the greatest quarterback I think we've ever seen. I am not sure that he can ever pass Tom Brady now. I do not. Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna say.
Like, let's say he gets to 8.
Yeah. I mean, like, barring something, I do not see a realistic path. Okay. Like, to get to 8, he would have to win 5 Super Bowls in the next 10 years, which I'm not saying he can't do, but that's probably not happening.
Something we've never seen before.
Like, that's probably not happening. So, barring some crazy, insane, never before seen, unrealistic run, I don't think he can catch him. Yeah. I think he's now always going to have 2 Super Bowl blowouts on his resume. He doesn't have the 3-peat, and he's always going to have lost to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Yeah. Like, I don't think 5 Super Bowls anymore is going to cut it. Maybe you'll still get some people that make, if he plays for 15 years, 5 Super Bowls, 5-2, maybe 5-3 in the Super Bowl. Maybe some people will be like, well, he only played 15 years. Tom Brady played for 50. I mean, so maybe that's the argument people try to make, but I can't. For Patrick Mahomes was chasing unanimous GOAT status. Mm-hmm. I do not see a path for him to get that anymore.
Realistically, I do agree with that. I think what you said was.
I mean, and
you hit it right there on the nail.
Well, and Brady just had he had so many other advantages. He had
played in a very weak conference.
Yeah, his division was terrible for his entire career. I mean, Josh Allen comes along right at the tail end of his time in New England. he has to play against Josh Allen for 2 years.
I mean, he used to struggle in Miami, but like Miami was hard at the
Yeah,
end of the playoffs.
Miami's tough.
We got either thrashed by the Ravens or thrashed by the Patriots or whatever.
But I just don't see it, and it's hard to say because I want him to pass Brady because I love Patrick Mahomes and I've enjoyed watching him, and I tell everybody I know, I'm like, you got to just watch him. Like I'm talking to my mom and my sister this weekend before the Super Bowl, and I'm like, you're gonna watch the Super Bowl? And she's like, oh yeah, maybe. And I'm like, we're watching the greatest player of all time play. Like you have to go watch him.
On a game, they might as well.
And then and it's a bummer when that happens, and it's like, I mean, I still feel like he is the greatest player I think any of us have ever seen at his peak. I mean, he is just remarkable. I mean, the stats don't lie. Everybody when they're down by 10 points, the average quarterback wins a third of those games. Tom Brady was winning half of those games. Patrick Mahomes wins north of 60% of those games. Like his EPA, which is some nerd advanced stat, but it basically tells you how well you play above the average expectation for a given moment. Peyton Manning in his 2004 season, which was, some people think it's the greatest quarterback season ever. He had 49 touchdowns that year, broke the record at the time. His EPA was like 44 or something, 0.44. Patrick Mahomes in crunch time moments need to have it to win. He's like a 0.49. Like, I mean, he is playing like at a higher level than anybody's ever played in the most critical times. So I just, I can go on and on and on, but like, I don't think he can pass. Like, he's gonna need the accolades to pass Tom Brady, and I just do not see a reasonable path for him to get there anymore. Which is very sad.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I feel about that. I guess to wrap up the Super Bowl, to put a little bow on it, let's talk about what we expect in the upcoming season and seasons for these teams. Christian, I'll start with the Eagles. Can the Eagles repeat?
I mean, looking at the landscape of the NFC, let me think. I expect the Commanders to get better. I expect the Cowboys to be better, but are they, I mean, at least a threat in the regular season? They do split with the Eagles a lot. They play them tough. So I expect Dak to be healthy during the season. I don't know what the Lions are going to do. I think they're going to be there. The Packers, I think, will be fine, but who knows? If Jordan Love can just stop making, crucial mistakes. Who else is a top contenders? The 49ers, I don't know what they're going to be doing. They're looking like they might be trading Debo, Samuel. I expect them to be better, obviously. If I was a betting man, probably not, but I give them a real shot. I don't think they can get worse, but I mean, we did see how they did after that Super Bowl season. That was just a weird, crazy thing that happened. I don't know what happened last year with the Eagles. That was wild. So I don't. It was. They went 10-1, and then it imploded. Like just like that. Like it just imploded. They got.
I mean, they weren't. That was the thing too, is they weren't even that good. Like during the 10-1 run, they were like winning, and it was like, I don't know how y'all are winning all these games, but y'all don't look good.
And then they got blown out by like the
Niners,
49ers,
and then they had to go play the Cowboys the next week and got blown out there.
It was just weird. Crumbled. So I don't expect that to happen next year, but I do expect them to have a slump maybe. Obviously. So yeah, if I was a betting man, I'd say no for the Eagles, but I give them a real shot. Like I think they should be as good or even better, maybe. Well, just as good, maybe a little bit better. See what they do in free agency, and in the draft. But so they still have the best offensive line in the game. Their defensive line is.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Look, I think they have the best offensive line coach in the league.
Everybody
Honestly,
keeps saying they have the best offensive line. I think they have a top 3 O line. I don't think they have the best. I think the Lions still have the best offensive line. The Lions offensive line is like people are just like
fine.
But like people just say like this is the best offensive line in the league. I'm like, bro, the
One
Lions
of
have like 3 All Pros on their offensive line. What
that
are you
is
talking
fair.
about?
I like Peninsul. Peninsul's really good. Okay, one of them, but I do like their offensive line coach. I think is one of the best. So I think they'll be good. You know, they've like you said, you know, they build through their offensive line, their defensive line. As long as you do that, and then you know you free agency acquisition there here and there, and you draft well where your needs are. I think they'll be in the running.
Yeah,
But I'm gonna
100%.
say no. But um, I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the NFC Championship game next year. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. I like so first kind of part of this is do the Eagles like as a team have the bones to get back? I think
Yes.
so. I think so. They
Yeah.
have a phenomenal roster.
Yeah.
They have the experience, and this is after they've already signed Jalen Hurts. Like
Yeah.
it's not like he's playing on a rookie deal. Like they've already signed him and made this work. So you know they have an insane amount of young talent. I know Jalen Carter, Jordan Phillips, like they're all going to be getting contracts soon, and you got to figure that out. But like,
Yeah.
the difference, like when they went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, if you remember, we went into the offseason and it was like, man, they have a lot of players that they could lose. And they have to make some tough decisions. And they lost a few players. They ended up mitigating it, doing pretty well. And then they went into this offseason, you know, Jason Kelce retired, Fletcher Cox retired. They ended up retooling their team. They're not gonna lose a lot of guys this year. I know people like I don't know why people are trying to make it seem like it. Like there's some, you know, Mekhi Becton, you know, he was pretty good this year for them.
Really, yeah. Came on from the Jets.
Kenny Gainwell's not bad. You know, CJ Usama's a good second tight end. You know, they got to figure out what to do with Zach Bond, which Zach Bond's gonna probably get a bag because they're paying him $3.5 million.
They probably let him go get a bag from somewhere else.
Maybe, yeah. Josh Sweat, you know, Josh Sweat's a key piece. Also, Brandon Graham, he's probably retiring.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, those are kind of, you know, Avonte Maddox, but they kind of they really don't need Avonte Maddox anymore. Like they've done a great job of retooling their secondary. They're not as reliant on him. Not like they were in the past, at least. So, I mean, look, they could lose some guys, like, but I don't look at this as like this is gonna alter this team to the point like I think they're gonna be just as good next year as they were this year in terms of talent. And I also think there's a chance that again, like they're not coming off a loss, they're coming off a win, so there's that momentum. And I know the Super Bowl hangover is real, but I also think they have the experience to probably weather it, and they know what to expect. And I think the biggest question for them is can they replace Kellen Moore adequately? And I don't even think Kellen Moore's that good. Like, I think if they get an average play caller, they're going to be fine.
It's going to be interesting what happens with New Orleans. See how this goes. I see that Brandon Staley's going to be defense coordinator. I like that move.
That's not bad. I actually like that move. But yeah, so I think they have the bones to do it, but they're fighting against some bad trends. And those trends are nobody repeats in the NFC. Nobody does.
Yeah.
Nobody repeats in the NFC.
Huge. That has been huge. I mean, like I said, I feel like the 49ers, we'll see what they do now. I hear could be they're going to have to be digging their pockets for Brock Purdy. But, I mean, they can just wait. They can just wait if they don't want to pay him. But, I don't know. Waiting ain't the best.
Funny. Yeah, it's tell
like
that
I
to
said,
the Cowboys.
I expect the Cowboys to be better.
Yeah.
I don't know how big contenders they will be, but I think they'll be annoying.
I mean, again, as you said, like, they could split with this team. Like, they always do. Like, playing in Dallas on Sunday Night Football, like, you never know what's going to happen. But I just, it's so hard to repeat in the NFC. And as you're saying, like, the NFC is pretty good. Lions, Vikings, Packers. Who knows what the Bears are going to be next year? We'll see what the Bears do.
I agree somewhat with that.
The Bucks, you know,
the Bucks will be.
I say it every year, and I'll be right one day. Who knows what the Panthers are going to be? Who knows what the Panthers are going to be? Who knows what the Falcons? the Falcons got a young quarterback. They have talented roster. They could surprise some people if Michael Penix pops. The Commanders are obviously really good, or they're supposed to be good. Like, they're in a good position with a young quarterback. The 49ers are probably going to be healthier. The Rams are not going anywhere probably. The Seahawks are decent. Like, it's a tough conference, and you have a history in this conference. It's been 10 years since somebody repeated in this NFC. It's been and before that, the last time was the Seahawks.
Oh yeah! Oh wow! Yeah, we haven't. Damn.
And the last time before that was 20 years prior. Jesus. When the Packers went. Now in the 90s we had a lot because the Cowboys repeated and then the Packers repeated right after. But it's the NFC is not, like, you look at the AFC. The AFC is the conference of quarterbacks. The top 7 quarterbacks I just listed, 5 of them are AFC. Montana and Rodgers are the only NFC quarterbacks, and the NFC is the league of parity. It is it's just what it is. It's what it's always been. So, I think they have the bones to do it. I think if there was a team that could do it, it would be a team like this. Like, they kind of remind me of one of those 49ers teams from a couple years ago, but the path to get there is hard. So I wouldn't bet on it. But I think Saquon Barkley was out there talking about wanting to get his own three-peat, which, hey, you're a whiles away. Like, that would be insane if the Eagles could do that. Again, like, if they just get back next year, it's like, dang, guys, that's impressive. Like, holy moly. So I don't think so. But I wouldn't like when the Bucs went, I didn't think the Bucs would repeat. I was like, nah, the Bucs roster, they didn't make any changes. Their roster's decent. Like, they were a pretty good team that got hot at the right time and went on a run. The Rams, they gutted their offensive line, and everybody kept telling me this team's going to be really good. And I'm like, bro, they don't have an offensive line, and they were horrible. So I don't look at again, they remind me of those Niners teams. And, it's the Lions, like, you can make the case after they went to the NFC Championship, like, oh, man, how are they going to deal with the expectations? Now, they dealt with the expectations well. The Eagles aren't going to have that problem. They've been this good for a while now. Like, they're going to go into next year. They're going to know what to expect. They're going to know they're already getting everybody's best shot. Like, I think if there's ever a team that has a chance to do it, it's them, but I wouldn't bet on it. All right, let's talk Chiefs. Travis Kelce is probably retiring.
I don't know.
I think he's keeping it open.
I think he might. I mean, you'd hate to go out on just the sour, just how bad they play. Like, I mean, if it was like a closer game, you'd be like, all right, we just didn't make enough plays. But just to get waxed like that, must really, really hurt.
They come back next year, third team ever to win 3 and 4 years. Not bad.
That could. And also at this point in time in his career, like, he has to really think about it. Like, it's like, do I really want to put my body and, go through all the workouts and all the hit? Like, he had Coach Mangini was talking about. He had 97 catches this year. Like, that's a lot of production, and like it's a lot of hits you got to take.
Yeah.
And he sacrificed a lot of money. He has left on the table, he's good with like the endorsements, all that. He's very charismatic. Like, he'll be on
Taylor Swift.
He's with Taylor Swift, so like he's fine financially, but yeah, it's tough. And I imagine he wants to start a family and all that stuff. So he talked about it right now. He'll mull it over. I'd probably put, if I had to bet, I'd probably put that he's retiring, but he would retire. But I wouldn't be surprised if he must have run it back at least one more year. I know if they would have won this Super Bowl, I think it would have been a no doubt he would have retired. But I think with how badly they played and he played, he might give it one more year. But like I think this Super Bowl was like a really a game that really showed his age. So Travis Kelce might be retiring, so they're going to have to deal with that. Any big defensive? Are they losing a lot of pieces on defense?
Let me go look up what their free agency looks
like. I will say they should probably go out and look for a number one receiver. Maybe just that guy, DeAndre Hopkins is said he's gonna be retiring. I don't think I haven't heard. I think this is like I don't know if I don't know if it's officially like he has come out and said, or I just heard it from like somebody or Adam. He told somebody and Adam Schefter tweeted it. I don't know.
They got a couple guys on here.
Okay, so they got to retool their team. I know they're probably going to be looking to that offensive line.
They need to draft an offensive lineman.
Trying to fix that. I mean, after that Bucs Super Bowl, they went and got that was it that their center,
Creed Humphreys.
Creed Humphreys, excellent for them. So I expect them. Then they'll address that. I mean, they should probably go get a running back, just a guy that can get those explosive runs. I really think that would really help them so much if they could. Now you don't have to hit your. Gotta run all the time and get big runs, but they definitely need a guy in the backfield that can get that for them. It's sometimes where we don't always have to rely on Patrick Mahomes to be Superman in the fourth, but yeah. So how's betting, man? I put decent amount of money on the Chiefs getting back to the AFC Championship this year. This upcoming year, I guess.
So I've got them losing. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to lose this. I'm saying this is who it says they have as far as unrestricted free agents. D-Hop, which we just talked about. Justin Reed. Charles Omenihu, their edge rusher. Hollywood Brown. DJ Humphreys, their tackle.
Okay.
Nick Bolton. That's a tough loss if they lose him.
I like Nick Bolton. They might bring him back.
Forgot McCole Hardman was on the team.
Oh, yeah, that was just whatever.
Let's see. There was one more. Oh, Trey Smith is also on here. So Mike Caliendo, I don't think Mike Caliendo is just a backup. But, I mean, they got a few guys, like especially on that defensive side. Like, if you lose Justin Reed, Charles Omenihu, and
solid, but he's
Nick Bolton, like, that's pretty,
I feel like they'll probably get Nick Bolton signed. He's been really good for them, but depending on, I guess, how much he's asking for. But so okay, they got some things to fix up, shore up on that defense. But I think Spags is if he's still there next year, I think they'll be solid defensively. I mean, we saw them with a young defense there, and they figured it out toward the end of the season. I think they won that Super Bowl, right? When they had all those young players.
They moved off of Tyreek. And are you talking about that offseason? Or are you talking about maybe?
I believe so. When they got Trent McDuffie and all them boys. They won the Super Bowl that year, right?
They went. Patrick Mahomes won the MVP that year, and they won the Super Bowl. He was the first quarterback to win MVP and the Super Bowl since Kurt Warner.
Damn. So I expect them to be. As long as they got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, they should be always in contention in the AFC. Like I said, we'll see how their division looks like. Their division's gotten tougher. Obviously, they all good coaches, and we'll see what Bo Nix does. And I don't know who the Raiders are gonna. What the Raiders are gonna do?
Try to draft a quarterback.
I mean, but I don't know if they'll be ready. Okay.
I don't know. Like, I understand. Like, on paper, it's like, oh man, their division's getting tougher. They just beat everybody. Like, they beat the Bills, it's still they beat the until Ravens, they beat the Bengals. Like,
until somebody can dethrone them.
I'm not convinced. Oh, their division got better. I'm like, bro, I don't care. Like, call me when somebody actually beats them.
So wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs don't make the AFC Championship again next year.
I fully expect them at minimum to be back. And this, like I said, it was probably good for the NFL that the Eagles won. It's probably bad for the AFC that the Chiefs lost. Yeah. Because if the Chiefs had won this, it'd be like, all right, step back, whatever. It's like Travis Kelce's gone. Like, wouldn't be surprised if it's just like down year for them.
Yeah.
Now you're getting a newly focused Chiefs team for some reason, which is insane and scary. A different kind of focus, and that's a problem. Like, I bet if you're Josh Allen, and you're probably just sitting there like, I don't know what Josh Allen was thinking, but if I'm Josh Allen, I'm like, please let the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Because I need them to be chill and not have anything to play for anymore. And now they got everything to play for again.
Gotta get back there. Gotta redeem yourself.
Man. And then they win one, and then it's like, well, let's go get two. And then they get two, and it's like, it's back on, baby. It's back on.
I don't know if we'll ever see that again.
I don't either. But no, it's I think this upcoming season, like, there's gonna be like this is the ridiculousness of post Super Bowl conversations. This is the same shit as last year when it's like, should the Niners get rid of Kyle Shanahan? Is it time to find a new coach in San Francisco?
Are people saying Andy Reid?
No, but it's the same like equivalent of like people are like, are the Chiefs ever going to get back there? Oh my gosh, what if the Chiefs are just a bad team now? And it's like, guys, y'all are being ridiculous. Y'all are going to be really sad when the Chiefs go 13-4 next year. Back in the AFC Championship.
Top of the AFC again. And we're like, oh, yeah.
We're wondering if Josh Allen is going to beat them or go 0-5 against them. Like, you're going to feel really sad. So, it's like, they're always going to be around, y'all. Yeah. Like, it's like I hate to say it because it's so cliche, but it's like the Patriots. The Patriots, they lost the Super Bowl, and the next year they were back in it. And it's just like, all right. Chiefs lost the Super Bowl. They're back in the AFC Championship the next year, playing in overtime. Like, they're not going nowhere.
Yeah,
going nowhere.
I think it's ridiculous. We're sitting here questioning if they can win it again in the next 10 years. Like, I'm like, what?
So,
what are we talking about?
All right. Well, that was we talked about the Super Bowl for an hour and a half almost, so that's really fun. Wanted to, before we get out of here, just talk about some bit of NFL news. Hit some stuff. Talk about our schedule for the upcoming off season, and also wanted to talk about the NFL honors and react to that. So some quick news: Kellen Moore got signed to the Saints.
Good luck, I guess.
Yeah, good luck. I don't really like Kellen Moore. I don't really have any faith in the Saints. Like, I don't.
I don't think anything of that. Head coach I don't know. We'll see. I guess rooting for him. I have nothing against the Saints, but I don't think it's gonna work.
I don't either. Like, I don't.
They got Derek Carr looming that over their head.
Salary cap is just
still messed up.
Destroyed. Like, it's a bad situation, but they'll be okay. Pro Football Hall of Fame. We had 4 people picked. We had I just lost it. I'm gonna try to do it off the top of my head. Sterling Sharp, Eric Allen, NFL Hall of Fame class. I just don't want to get it wrong. Sorry. Yeah, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp.
Oh, Antonio Gates, yeah. It's very small.
Very small, 4, as small as they can go. All 4 players, so that's interesting. Is there? I can't remember if there's other. Either way, I don't hate this class. Jared Allen, I'm like, whatever about. Okay, I guess. Like, he has a resume. He was an elite player for a period of time. Antonio Gates, just an absolute no-brainer. I mean, I thought he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. They made him wait a year. And let's see, Eric Allen. Eric Allen's an old guy. Played for the Eagles in the 90s. He got an All-Pro. He pretty good. 54 interceptions. Just kind of reading a couple stats here. He is right here. He remains only player in NFL history with at least 3 interceptions returned for touchdowns in 2 separate seasons. So that's cool. Had 6 Pro Bowls. Had a first-team All-Pro. And he got 8th place in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 1993. So I don't know a lot about Eric Allen's career. I mean, I know of him, but like, I guess I'm fine with this.
Don't know who that is.
And Sterling Sharp. Sterling Sharp is an interesting case. He's a real, I think Sterling Sharp only gets in because of players like Patrick Willis and Calvin Johnson.
Those one that were really good during their short.
And Terrell Davis too. Yeah, where it's like they didn't play for super long, but they were so good. They were so dominant when they played. And Sterling Sharp was like, I mean, he played less than any of them. He played, I think, like 3 or 4 seasons.
Oh, wow.
Yes. He was let's see, I want to double check this. Let me double check this. I want to get it right. He did not play for very long at all. So let's see. He got drafted. Okay, he played for 7 years. So he had a career. But he 8,000 yards, had 65 touchdowns, had 595 receptions, which is really good. 600 catches in 7 years. But obviously he had a neck injury and it ended his career. And it's that thing where it's like, part of me's like, from what we saw of him on the field, I'm fine with it. Because there's some people that are like, Matt Stafford's a Hall of Famer. I'm like, Matt Stafford's not a Hall of Famer. And they're like, well, if Matt Stafford had played for the Rams his whole career, he played for a bad team. So if he hadn't played for a bad team, he'd be a Hall of Famer. And it's like, maybe, but he played for a bad team. And he did not do Hall of Fame level stuff when he played. Sterling Sharp did. Sterling Sharp was a Hall of Fame level player. He just didn't get to play for very long. So I'm happy for Sterling Sharp. I'm happy for Shannon Sharp.
See his two brothers going.
That was a really cool moment to, you sent me that clip of Shannon Sharp getting to be the one to announce it. I'm sitting there like tearing up watching it in bed because it's such a big deal. Like, that's been a thing that has been talked about even when Shannon Sharp got in, it was like he was like, I shouldn't be here. He's like, I'm the second best football player in my family. And he might have been. Like, Sterling Sharp was amazing. So, unfortunate that he didn't get to play for very long, but I'm glad he finally got in. The players who didn't get in. Eli Manning. He's it. He's the only player that didn't get in. No, I mean, shouldn't. Torrey Holt lost out again. Luke Kuechly, Steve Smith, Terrell Suggs, Fred Taylor, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie Wayne, Darren Woodson, Marshall Yonda, Jahari Evans, Willie Anderson. Like, a lot of those players, I think, are eventual Hall of Famers. Definitely. I want Torrey Holt to get in. I think Steve Smith will get in at some point. I think Reggie Wayne and Adam Vinatieri will get in. I don't really think Fred Taylor's a Hall of Famer. That's just me. And Eli Manning is not a Hall of Famer. So
I think Luke Kuechly's a Hall of Famer.
Luke Kuechly.
You don't think Luke Kuechly's a Hall of Famer?
He is probably a Hall of Famer, yeah. I mean, he only played for 7 years.
Won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. Did he ever win a Defensive Player of the Year?
He did.
Okay.
He won Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And then the next year he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Oh my God.
7 years he was a 5-time All-Pro.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So he's
and then went to the Super. I mean, no, it's not very important for
linebackers.
Only quarterbacks it matters for Super Bowls, but he didn't make it to a Super Bowl. So
yeah, he was amazing. And every year the years he didn't finish first team All Pro, the 2 years he didn't, he was second team All Pro.
Yeah.
So
I think he should have been a first ballot. But
I would have been fine with Luke Kuechly if they want to make him wait because you only played 7 years, which again is like okay, but I mean they made Sterling Sharp wait, I guess. So like it's not that crazy, but I mean Luke Kuechly just his concussions were just he's like I can't.
Yeah.
I have to consider my brain, and it's like for sure. Eli Manning not a Hall of Famer, so he'll probably get in next year, but man, dude, he is just so not a Hall of Famer, and it's so obvious. Like I can't fathom it. I can't fathom
He's gonna get in.
So many smart people who watch football are just like, yeah, that guy's a Hall of Famer. It's like, he's not. You saw him. I know you saw him play. I know you did.
Led the league in interceptions 3 times.
Like Rich Eisen's like, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. I'm like, Rich, I know you saw him play. I know you saw him play every Sunday.
Isn't he a New York Giants fan?
He's a Jets fan.
Oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
You know, I get what's his name? Scott Hansen, NFL Red Zone guy. He's like, I think he's a Hall of Famer. It's like, Scott, I know you have seen enough football to know that guy is not a Hall of Famer. Stop lying to yourself.
He beat the Patriots.
And
he got Manning on the back of his jersey.
And he was a Giant.
I
know why he's going to get in, but he should not get in. Like, again, nobody who watched football, who has watched a decent amount of football, will tell you, Eli Manning is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen play football. It doesn't exist. It's almost laughable to hear somebody say it because it's like, yeah, obviously not. It's like, then why is he a Hall of Famer? I digress. We'll talk about this, I'm sure, next year when he gets in.
Okay.
Because he will get in. He'll get in eventually. I know he will.
Want to go to the controversial one?
Yeah, what's the controversial one?
The MVP.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. I forgot we had all these other awards.
Yeah. You were just so focused on Eli Manning.
I was so focused on the Hall of Fame and Eli Manning. All right, let me pull up the NFL honors. We'll talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen got MVP. A lot of people were. I think Nick made the comment, the Here Damn Award.
The Here Damn Award. Look. I think Lamar probably should have won it, but Josh Allen was not that far removed. Like, it was him or Lamar, so like they gave it to one of the two guys that should have got it.
Yeah.
Like
I'm not too up in arms. Yeah, I'm not too up in arms of it. Like, it probably should have went to Lamar, but
I agree, but
I'm not too, like, whatever. Like, good for Josh Allen. He needs it.
He does. Well, I also like. I don't know, man. I feel really weird because I really don't like the narrative element of it. Like, that's always why I've really liked the NFL MVP. I know they always give it to quarterbacks, which is its own problem. But, like, I feel like others, like the NBA is like a narrative one. Like, they're like, we're not going to give LeBron more MVPs than Michael Jordan. Like, even though he has earned it, even though he has been the best player multiple times, and they said, no, we're not going to give it to you because we don't want to give it to you. Like, the NFL's like, it was always, to me, it's like, we'll just keep giving you it. Like, you're the best. Here you go. They gave it to Brett Favre 3 years in a row.
Damn.
Like, they gave it to Aaron Rodgers at the end of his career 2 years in a row. Like, they're just like, you were the best player. Like, we wish you didn't suck. As, you know, we wish you were better in the playoffs. But, like, here you go, dude. You earned it. But at the same time, I also feel like Josh Allen 1 MVP, Lamar Jackson 2. Kind of feels right.
Yeah.
Feels correct. So I'm a little split on it, but I don't mind it. I'm happy for Josh Allen. He got engaged this year, you know, Haley Steinfeld. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy. And, like, you know, it's really, like, again, just a human moment. Like, his parents sitting there crying as he's accepting the award. Like, good stuff. Good stuff.
Speaking of, why did Wyoming get a Super Bowl spot? That was weird as hell.
I thought it was a Josh Allen commercial.
Yeah, I'm like, because it was just like, I was seeing Josh Allen, and it was like, what, and they were doing all the thing, and I'm like, why is Wyoming getting this? You told me the University of Wyoming, who lost to UNT this past year. Was it this year or last year? I think it was this past year. I'm like, where y'all get these $8 million from? Like, to be spending on, like, who's like, yeah, I want to go to Wyoming. Like,
tuition rates went up 3% this year.
Like,
that was funny.
That was weird. I was like, what is happening? I'm like, why is Wyoming here? And it's like, Josh Allen ain't even in the game.
All right, next one.
Like, I ain't seen Tech. Patrick Mahomes probably the most famous.
Random. Like, the university, like, it's not Alabama, it's not Clemson. Like, it's like, why is the University of Wyoming buying a Super Bowl ad? Like,
and Jalen Hurts from Alabama. Yeah, he went to Alabama first. You ain't see Alabama. Like what?
That's funny.
That was just a weird. You brought up Josh Allen. I was like, wait, hold up. That spurred something. I was like, that was weird.
All right, couple more awards. Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah.
Look, when I first heard it, I was like, what? Really? The last time? But
I mean, all those injuries.
They were supposed to win 6.5 games this year.
Yeah,
like
they were not
won
expecting
14 games.
Yeah, and almost won was almost had the number 1 seed.
Yeah, so I am fine with Kevin O'Connell winning it. I think he earned it. And hey, he continues the tradition of the coach of the year getting bounced in the wild card.
Oh wow, that is damn.
Just always happens.
So
Matt Nagy.
So basically, you're just the
Kevin Stefanski last year, Kevin O'Connell this year.
Damn, so you shouldn't win coach of the year.
Seems like it's an omen, Same with MVP. MVPs never win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Very rarely. I mean, they used to win it all the time, and now they rarely win it. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jared Verse. That's what I thought would happen. That's who I thought would win it. Very happy with Jared Verse. Thought he was great. There was a lot of really good defensive Rookie of the Year options. Was fine with Jared Verse, but would have been fine with a number of them.
Yeah,
I wanted Jared Verse though. Comeback Player of the Year, they gave it to Joe Burrow,
which is I don't understand that whatsoever.
The Comeback Player of the Year award
needs to be studied.
It
needs to be studied.
Starting to piss me off.
What is the rules to this award? I need to know because he got injured. What did he get? He had a season-ending injury, right, or whatever.
Yeah, he got hurt halfway through the year last year,
and they were like middling. Like it's
Joe Burrow.
That's not comeback. Like he didn't have to overcome shit.
See, Sam Darnold, I think, should have won it.
Yeah, like Sam Darnold was a castaway. Like
dude was a bust. He was a straight draft bust.
And he was going from team to team, and he got to the Vikings.
He wasn't even supposed to be anything this year.
When he was supposed to be the starter,
the bridge quarterback, and he took him to 14
games.
Fun fact, though, Joe Burrow joins Chad Pennington as the only player to win this award twice since it was reintroduced in 1998.
Oh, did he win it the year after his rookie year?
He won it in 2021.
That was fair.
Yeah, he was a rookie. He got hurt early, and then he comes back and takes his team to, which of course he hadn't taken his team to the Super Bowl by the time they announced it or by the time they voted, but still.
He had a great season. I think they beat the Chiefs that year.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. He did not deserve that award.
Quote, "It's not exactly an award you want to be up for, but if you're up for it, you might as well try to win it." That's a Joe Burrow quote.
I mean, look, I don't want to be. This is not the award I want to be hoisting up. I want to be hosting Super Bowl trophies, not comeback player of the year. When I don't even deserve it. When I'm not even a comeback player. Like what?
Offensive Player of the Year, never a doubt. We didn't even spend time talking about this last week because we knew Saquon Barkley, 9th player to ever have 2,000 rushing yards, had more yards in a single season than any running back ever, if you include the playoffs.
Damn.
Didn't have a great Super Bowl, had less than 100 yards total, but
he was great.
He did
up until the Super Bowl.
It wasn't his fault. Like they went in and they were like, "You're not doing anything today, Saquon."
Yeah.
So we knew that was going to happen. He had 7 60-plus yard rushing touchdowns, the most in a single season.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, he was insane. All right, here we go. Next, Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain. Love that they gave it to a corner.
I do love that. Pat Surtain. I was happy for him for that. Yeah.
Pat Surtain is a dog. I mean, he is a beast. Jamar Chase, the Triple Crown winner.
Yeah.
Had 3 receptions for 27 yards on 43 routes against Patrick Surtain.
Locked down. That's the real Revis right there, baby.
DK Metcalf, 3 catches for 29 yards on 24 routes.
Oh, locked down.
And
clamps.
Yeah. I mean, he surrendered the fewest receiving yards of anybody at his position, minimum 375 snaps, 306 yards. Allowed the second lowest passer rating and the lowest expected points added per target. He tied his career high in interceptions with 4, and he led the league in interception return yards. That's because he got that massive pick six against the Raiders like back in week 7, if you remember.
I don't remember that one, but
Vance
that
Joseph.
was hit. I don't remember that play, but like, damn, okay.
Vance Joseph said Pat is at the center of everything we do. He gives us a chance at a lot of defense.
I mean, yeah, he essentially takes away their best player on offense, and that's if one player can do that, that does so much. That helps your defense so much more in other areas. I don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about Jamar Chase beating us today. Damn. All right, let's double T Higgins.
I got 10 other defensive players.
Yeah.
I got to worry about Jamar Chase. Like, that's huge. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
I feel weird about it because post-playoffs, Jaden Daniels deserves it, in my opinion. But when they voted for this award, I still feel like Brock Bowers deserved it.
Yeah. I hope they get him a quarterback next year.
Yeah, I do too. But I'm happy for. I'm not going to complain that Jaden Daniels won this award. Love Jaden Daniels. Super excited to see what the Commanders do. I got nothing else to say. Like, just insanely awesome season. Possibly the best rookie season we've ever seen by a quarterback. So, pretty good. Assistant Coach of the Year, slam dunk, Ben Johnson. Nothing crazy there. And then the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, Cameron Jordan, which...
You have nothing to say about that. Congrats.
I got something to say about it.
Okay, what you got?
I'm not saying, I'm just saying a little suspicious.
Cam Jordan, why?
They gave it to the New Orleans Saints player when the Super Bowl was in New Orleans, and they knew they were going to have that memoriam for all the people killed in that attack at New Year's.
There was an attack.
Yeah, there was somebody who drove their car through a crowd in New Orleans and killed like 14 people or something. You don't remember that? That was huge news.
It's not ringing a bell, but
man, that was huge news when it happened.
There's so much news is broke.
Yeah.
So much has been happening.
The news was but that was at the New Year's. It was at the New Year's party.
Okay. I don't. Whatever.
I love Cameron Jordan. Cameron Jordan seems like a great dude. He's a great player. I just found it a little suspicious. I'm like, really? You gave it to the New Orleans guy when the Super Bowl's in New Orleans? Really?
I don't really care about all that.
Coincidence? I don't know. This seems a little too.
Walter Payton Man Award ring. You want to be that dude? It's a Walter Payton Man of the Year Award ring.
I'm not about the refs being rigged. I'm about the Walter Payton.
Actually, I might be on the comeback player. We need to investigate them.
Dude,
comeback player of the year.
I'm trying to not talk about last year's comeback player of the year because I'm just gonna get mad again. I can't. Joe Flacco over DeMar Hamlin
is great.
It's insane.
I still think about this every once in a while. It's just when Kendrick, Good Kid, Mad City lost to that Macklemore album. I still think about that
comparison.
I was like, what happened there?
It's just like it's like when you see a baseball get hit for a home run. And you got this little kid standing underneath it, and you're like, this is going to be a great moment. This kid is going to catch this home run, and this asshole, this 25-year-old jock asshole comes up and just catches it over his head and is like, thanks. And this little kid is just like, oh. That's what that felt like to me. I'm just like, bro, this is like such an obvious like great moment we're about to see. And just like, nah, we're gonna put Joe Flacco as a comeback. I
took him to the playoffs.
I just can't fathom that. Like, oh man, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it though. That's all we got. Anything else, Christian?
No. That's about it. Sad season's over. So looking forward to basketball and the playoffs. Hopefully that's soon. Baseball's gonna be picking up here in just a couple months, so that should be fun. So yeah, it sucks. This is like, oh man, this is where it kind of sucks. But it is nice. I'll get my Sundays back. Don't have to worry about watching the Dolphins disappoint me.
As an adult, it is nice. When I was a kid, I used to hate it because I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do with my Sundays? Like, I want to watch football. Now, as an adult, I'm like, oh
yeah,
man,
freeze
I
it
get a
up a little
whole
bit.
day of my week back now.
Right.
Thank you.
So yeah, freeze that up a bit, and yeah, I don't have to worry about watching football and stuff like that. And like you said, we're taking a month off, so a little nice just to have some. I don't have to record. I mean, I love this time doing
No,
this
I
with you,
feel you.
Jake. I
It's a
don't want to.
grind. I
It,
mean, every week, it can be a grind.
yes, but I do love these moments when we do. But it is like kind of, oh man, I gotta. All right, it's Wednesday. I
You
gotta
gotta
have
get your takes
opinions.
ready.
You gotta have opinions and things, and it's just like But yeah, so it's gonna be nice to take a little step back and see how and explore other things. But yeah.
Before we go, final betting recap.
Oh yeah, we did not hit.
49 and 51 on the year.
Damn.
I fell into a 7-game hole early in the year, and the rest of the season was just trying to dig myself out of it. It was.
You need to be better, Jake. You need to be better.
Yeah, I will be next year. Next year, I guarantee we're profitable. That's my guarantee. So we'll hit it next year. I'll try to give some bets throughout the off season on some win-loss totals as we get closer to the season. But yeah, we'll be back in a month. Free agency starts a month from today, I think, actually.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what some of these teams do. Who gets let go, who's getting franchise tagged, all that stuff.
It's gonna be fun. So we'll be back in a month to recap all that. We probably won't return to a normal weekly schedule. We'll talk about it, but
yeah,
just
probably close to the season and all that stuff.
Yeah, but we'll talk about it. We got the draft coming up, and then we'll see kind of where we land. But
Fun.
We'll see y'all in a month. So take it sleazy. We love y'all. Thanks for rocking with us all season. It was a good season. It was a sad season in a lot of ways for us as fans, Dolphins Cowboys fans here. But Christian, don't be sad it's over. Be happy that it happened.
Yeah, I could have been a little bit better, but yeah.
Yeah, would have been a little nicer, but
season could have been a lot more gentle to us.
Highlight of the season was Dak playing against the Falcons, and the camera caught him whispering to I think he was talking to
we fucking suck or
Trey. We fucking suck. That was the best moment. That's when I think of the 2024 Dallas Cowboys. That's what I think about. That's what I'm gonna think about. Yeah, all right, everybody. Well, take it easy. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, bye, y'all.